Hi. Today's topic is culture. And an interesting phrase, culture eats strategy for breakfast. I first heard this phrase in a leadership group I participated in, and the leader, Jack, would often use this phrase to remind us when things go sideways. He would say, culture eats strategy for breakfast. And many CIOs, particularly new ones, coming from a background of particularly in technology, maybe engineering, may get into a trap that says, I as a leader designed this system, I made these proclamations, it's been true tested, I even did focus groups perhaps, or did some kind of verification, got approvals, and yet for all the best designs and intentions, things aren't going right because there's a lack of adoption, whether it's a process or a system or what have you, and it could lead to some frustration. And that might be somewhere where the phrase culture eats strategy for breakfast applies. For me, there's two scopes to deal with when it comes to this. As an incoming CIO in any place, you have to deal with your own staff, your own people you manage, you're responsible for, who report to you. And then there's your constituents, whether that's your peers, your cabinet, your leadership group, or the community at large. I want to deal with just the first one right now, and that's your staff. The other one might be a little more complex. Maybe. Who knows? They're both fairly complex topics. But when it comes to your staff, there's many things at play here. And as I said, the neophyte CIO may not realize what happens is the stickiness of an organization, that is the culture, really has something going for it that may not be visible to you at first. So it always takes some effort going into an organization to read what is so, and often it's not something you'd see documented, and that is the things that make an organization run, the relationships, the attitudes, the perceptions, the paradigms. All those are things that not necessarily you'd find on paper per se, but they are definitely part of the culture. If you've seen something that works better, if you've designed something, certainly the one thing you want to make sure is you're doing something called modeling the behavior. If you want people to change the way they do things, they want to make sure that you as a leader buy into these proclamations. So you've got to be the person who does those things first. And second of all, you're going to have to be a little patient. So people will do what they do because it succeeded for them in the past. They got here because whatever they've been doing has been working for them. And there's some element in their mind that says, it worked before, maybe subconsciously, they'll do what they did before. You can forgive them for forgetting or not necessarily ingraining the new processes that you've designed, that you all agreed to. Again, that takes time, but it also takes patience and repetition and some examples. That is your example. Maybe a few people you pick who you see as champions. And you're going to need those, especially for major changes. You're going to want people who help you model that behavior. So there's some momentum involved in making that change. You want to make sure you have a fairly robust communication plan. People will get the memo one way or the other, but you want to make sure that that's consistent. People are reached in as many ways as you can reach them. Some people can be reached simply by verbal communication, by, say, meetings, and others need written communication. It's up to you to judge, but don't neglect the importance of good communication and communication repetition. People aren't going to get it the first time. It's going to take a few times, particularly when it comes to written communication. I don't want to underemphasize time and patience. And you will want to look for holdouts. These are people who are determined to keep things the way they are. Again, they're very similar to the others. They may be thinking things consciously or subconsciously, often out of fear, and they're going to be determined to keep things the way they are and ignore whatever it is you're looking to change. You have a few ways to deal with them. As you identify them, you could simply edict them into submission. That's fun, but hardly effective in my opinion. The better way is to simply win them over through logic, through experience, through demonstration, as I mentioned before, modeling the behavior. You might want to partner them with champions, as described before. Those are all methods that are available to you. So that's my subject. Good luck with your change initiative. There's more to be had on this in writing my blog at michaeldewisha.com. Thanks.